All right, guys. How's everyone doing? So let's get started. We want to talk about Active Directory and how you can create an Active Directory within a server and how do you configure it in a server. That's what we want to talk about. But before we move further, don't let us forget this topology. This is what we're trying to do. We have a server, we have a Windows 8 machine, we have a Windows XP. All of these are all connected to a single switch, a single network switch. The network switch is connected to the firewall, connected to the router or the access point, and then to the internet. So you might have organizations that have more than more than two PCs, of course. You might have 200 PCs, and all of them needs to be controlled by a single server that can write policies, create policies around them to obviously limit access control, have some role-based access control or some discretionary access control thereabout on each devices that exist on that company. So these are the steps to creating an Active Directory, to configure it, to create a domain controller and all. So just for clarity's sake, what Active Directory is meant for is simple. What it is meant for is simple. If you have 200 devices in a company, we want to manage all of these from a central point, also known as the domain controller. The domain controller is where we are going to be controlling all of those 200 computers. It simply means that we can put in any settings on these computers that are on this server. So we can put in any settings of our choice. For example, this computer, we might decide that we don't want all of the USB ports to work. We can configure that directly from the domain controller on the server. Of course, the domain controller would always be on the server. So this is where we're going to be having the domain controller. So we're going to be installing the Active Directory on the server, and we're going to be promoting it to the domain controller. So from the domain controller, we can control all of these machines. In fact, we can disable them from accessing some certain website. From the entire website itself, we can deactivate their CD-ROMs. In this case, we can deactivate their CD-ROMs. We can deactivate their USB drives. We can deactivate so many things from this domain controller easily. So let us get into how to do that. Of course, we need to open up our VirtualBox. We should have three machines: the Windows Server, Windows 8, and Windows XP. So what I want to do is let me put them in a group, and so the first thing I want to do is let me put all of them into groups. So this, let me say, move to group. I'll click on new, and I can rename this new group. And let me just say, let's name our company. Let's name it Cybertech. Cybertech. Cybertech, yes. That's the name of our company. And this company has just three machines. I'll move this to, I want to also move the Windows XP. I want to move it to the Cybertech group. And so let me create another group. Let me create others. Let me rename it as others not on Cybertech, so we don't mix it up. Okay, so we're just working with these three machines only. So I can add this to others, this also to others, move this to others, and Kali, I'll also move that to others. Good. So I don't want us to be confused. That's why I just moved them to a different group. So we're working with just these three machines. And in fact, you can download more Windows machine to practice this. You just have it there. So this is the name of our company, Cybertech. It has a Windows Server, a Windows 8 machine, and a Windows XP machine. So once we are on our server, the first thing we want to do is to click on the Start menu and click on Server Manager. So we're going to close this. Easy. We'll allow this to run. Now the first thing we want to do is to install Active Directory. After installing Active Directory, we then need to promote it to become a domain controller. How do we do that? You come to Manage, you click on Add Roles and Features. It comes out with this dialog box. You click on Next, 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 and make sure you check Active Directory Domain Service. It's because I already installed it, that's why it came out this way. So you click on check it, then it should come up with a dialog box. Then click on add features on the dialog box. Once you click on that, it brings you back to this page. You click on next, and you install. That is what you would do. Just follow through the installation process, click on next, next, and install. So it's going to take a couple of minutes for it to install, and when it is done, it's going to show that it has done installing. Then you can close it when it is done installing. So once that is done, the next thing you want to do is, it comes up with this yellow warning sign. This is all you need to do. Click on it and you see promote this server to a domain controller. That is exactly what you want to do. Just click on this and you should come up with this dialog box. It says add a domain controller to an existing domain, add a new domain to an existing forest, or add a new forest. So let's allow these to deploy. Then what we want to do is to click on add a new forest. So I'll click on add a new forest. Now I have to give the forest a root domain name. And since the name of our company is Cybertech, so let's give it Cybertech, cybertech.local, cybertech.local. Then we'll click on next. And then domain controller options. So what we have here is 2016, that's like the IS. So leave it as it is and we'll give it a password. Make sure the password is something you'd remember and it also conforms to the password policy. Then we click on next. So the delegation of these DNS servers cannot be created because they're already, so just ignore that and click on next. Then we'll click on next. We click on next. Now we click on next. So allow this all prerequisite checks pass successfully. Click install to begin installation. I'll click on install. So let's allow that to install. So on my beginning, it will tell you that you're about to be signed out, and just click on close. It's normal for it to run that way, and it's going to restart. Okay, good. So once it is done, it brings us back to this page. You click on inputs, keyboard, and click on insert control alt delete. And now you have cybertech/administrator. So now you have to put in the password you had created for it. I'll put in the password, then I'll hit enter. So I'll close this off and let's see what we have. All right. So once we're here, we've successfully completed these steps. We've been able to complete on the server, start the server dashboard. We've been able to install Active Directory, and we've been able to promote the Active Directory server to becoming a domain controller. So we've also been able to log in as the administrator. Now the next thing is for us to create three organizational units, otherwise known as OUs. So probably in an interview, you hear them telling you OUs, OUs. So it simply means organizational unit. Good. So the organizational unit is also the same thing um, as the OU. So now we have to create an organizational unit. So it's just like an hierarchy in the office, in the workplace. Say, for example, we have the manager, we have the sales manager, we have the IT manager. So all of these are in different departments. So this person is in sales department, this person is in IT department. So now under the sales manager, we have sub people, probably assistant manager, we have regional manager, whatever that is. So you can also do the same depending on what you have. So let us just create different organizational units. So how do we do that? We'll come back to tools here and we'll click on Active Directory, users and computers. We'll click on that. By default, now this is our domain cybertech.local. By default, so many organizational units or containers, organizational units, OUs could also be referred to as containers, just like containers that contains different things. So if you click on users, for example, you would see that you have different groups here, and that's those different things. Let me enlarge this so that I can get to see that better. So now there are different group policies that have been created that you can assign to any user or any um, groups or any organizational unit. So you have different things. Say, for example, you want to give somebody the admin privileges, so you can easily put them inside this group of domain DNS admins, for example. So the description is they get access to DNS administrators group, so they can perform the functions of the administrators of the DNS. So let's see how that works. Now, what we want to do now is we want to create some organizational units. Let's just create two organizational units. So how do we do that? On your cybertech.local here, right click on it and click on new, create. So you can create so many things. You can create group, organizational units, user, shared folders, and all. So I want to click on organizational units and I want to give that a name. So let's have sales and let's hit enter. I'll do the same again. For local, I'll click on new. I'll click organizational units. I'll click on IT department. Good. So we've been able to create organizational units easy. So now on each organizational unit, you can create within an organizational unit a group. Say within the IT department, you want to have a group where we have informations regarding our Windows PC. We want to have a group that talks about our Linux PCs. We want to have a group that talks about audit or something. We want to have different groups. So it has to be put inside uh, um, a certain organizational unit. So we can have this and click on new group and we can give the group name, say, cybersecurity. That's inside IT. Then we click on OK. So now you see that a new group has been created called cybersecurity, and we can create another one, say a group inside that we can create printers, and we can click OK. Good. So now at times you might need to rename them, so it's easy. If you want to rename any group whatsoever, click on rename, and all you just need to do is say printers. You put on the name information, for example, and you hit enter. So now you have this dialog box pop up. You have group name, printers information. Make sure that you write the same thing here. So it has to tally information, then you click OK. So it changes the name easy. So we've been able to create organizational units on, of IT department and sales. We've also been able to create groups within the IT department. Um, let's do the same thing for sales. We can create a group under sales. You can say quarter one, and you click on OK. And so if you click on sales now, you have quarter one inside the sales. So now we've been able to complete these steps. This step where it says create organizational unit, create groups within each organizational unit. So we've been able to do that as well. Now the next thing is to then, how do we then control these machines, this Windows 7 machine and this Windows 8 machine? How do we then attach them such that we can control all of them from this single domain controller? It's easy. All we need to do is to go back to our cybertech.local, or probably if you want to put them in the IT department, for example, you right click and click on new and you click on user. Now I want to create a new user under the IT department. I want to name this, okay, we have a new employee and we have to onboard that person, and say the person's name is Alex, Alex, and the last name of this person is K. So the person's full name is Alex K, and the user logon, you can give the user logon any username. You might give it something around probably alex.it, for example, so that it's easier for you to understand where which department this person belongs to. So it's easier. So alex.it, and I'll click on next. So now there are different options for password here. Now you can give the person a password, and you want them to like reset it once they get access. Another thing you might want to do is like you give them like a structured password, like everybody uses a certain password. So you can put in a password. So now if you check this, it says users must change password at next logon. So once you give them the authorization, once you're done creating this account, you when they want to log in, they will have to like change their password. That is the first option. So the second option is user cannot change password, so they can't change it from what it is now. So now password never expires simply tells you that there's a password policy within the organization that says that passwords would expire every 42 days. But we want to make sure that the password never expires, so that they don't keep coming back to the IT team to tell us that, oh, my password doesn't work, I want to change my password, and all. And the last part of this is account is disabled. You might create an account and want to make that account currently disabled. Now, you might want to do this because of two reasons. Probably you don't want it to be activated now, or probably somebody is on leave and you want to deactivate that account temporarily for like 2 3 months, so you can put it that account is disabled. But for this case, now let's click on password never expired, and let us click on next. And so let's remember the user logon that we've given to it, alex.it, and let's click on finish. Good. So it's finished now. We've been able to create a new user. You can see Alex K has been created as a new user. And Now this is where it gets interesting. Then let's go back to configure. Let's configure our Windows 8. Let's configure our Windows 8 so that we can add it to the domain controller. So how do you do that? Let me scale this machine. Windows 8 machine, and let me log in. So on your machine, whether you have Windows 8 or you have Windows XP, anyone that's going to work. So what we want to do now is to click on the file explorer. Yeah? You find this PC, right click on it, right click and click on properties. But if you don't want to do that, you can just close all of this, and on the search menu just type in rename PC. So you can see rename your PC or join a domain. Just click on that. So once you are on this page, what you want to do is you want to click on rename PC. Sorry, join your domain, and the domain name, remember, is Aliu. Sorry, that's alex.it. I hit on next. Sorry, the domain name is cybertech.local. Cybertech.local. And you click on next. It's going to be found. So what you have to do once you're on this page is to click on the Windows Explorer, Windows File Explorer, and click on this PC, right click on it and click on properties. So once you're here, you find this button that says system protection. Let's click on that. So you should be here. Once you're here, click on computer name, and it says to rename this computer, change its domain or work group, click change. So what we want to do is to click on change, and we want to click on member of, click on this domain. Then we want to impute the name of our domain name, which is cybertech.local. Cybertech.local, then you click OK. So it says an Active Directory controller for the domain cybertech.local could not be contacted if the name is correct, blah blah blah. Okay, so you might have this error, and why you are having that is simple, because we've not connected them together. And when I say we've not connected them together, it means that we've not used the Active Directory as the DNS. So this is what we're going to do. Let's cancel this. Let's close this. Let's close all of this. Close all of this. So now let's go to our network settings, um, control panel. So we want to go to our network settings, and since we're connected to Ethernet, want to click on that. Let's click on properties, and let's scroll down until we have Internet Protocol version 4. Make sure you click on it and click on properties. Then now what you want to do is to say use the following IP address. Now open up a new dialog box by typing Windows R and typing CMD and hit enter. Once you're here, just type in ipconfig and hit enter. So now we want to set this to what we're saying. All right, the IP address currently is 10.0.5.6, which is what we want to do. Want to change this to 10.0.5.6. We want to change the subnet mask to what is here, 255.255.224. Then the default gateway now would now be the IP address of this Active Directory or the server itself. So I'll press Windows R here and type in CMD, hit enter. So I want to get the IP address of the Windows server by typing ipconfig, and the IP address is 10.0.5.5. That is what I'm going to be changing the gateway to. So I'll be changing this default gateway. I'll be changing it to 10.0.5.5. So now it says use preferred DNS. The default gateway, sorry, I think the default gateway is 10.5.1, and you change the preferred DNS to 10.0.5.5, which is the IP address of the Windows server. Then you click on OK, then you click on close, then you close this. So it's easy that way. Then you can close this up, close this up. So once we've done that, we can click on File Explorer again, and let's click on this PC, or right click on it and click on Properties, click on System Protection, we'll click on Computer Name, and we'll click on Change. To rename this computer, changes domain, let's click on Change, and let's click on Domain. Domain name would be cybertech.local, and we hit on OK. So now we've been able to like have access to it. And now remember the username and password we had created on the Active Directory on the user. So this is this user, Alex K. Remember, alex.it. So that's going to be the username, alex.it, and the password is going to be the password is given to it. Then I hit enter. Good. So this would restart. So changes will take effect after you start this computer. So you can close, and it's going to restart now. So we can do the same thing for our Windows 7 machine. For our Windows 7 machine as well. So for these, the first thing we need to do, as you know, is to click on Start and go to the network settings, go to control panel. For example, you want to click network and internet connections. And once you're here, you want to see network connections, so to speak. And let's see. I want to click on properties. Um, there's nothing around IPv4. This computer is outdated. And go to control panel again. So I want to click on network settings. I want to set up or change your internet connection. General. Um, okay, yes, it should be displays internet protocol. We can click on properties, then we'll click on use the following IP address. So of course, let's get the IP address of this machine. Windows R, CMD, then type in ipconfig, hit enter. So we have 10.0.5.4, easy. So that's exactly what we're going to be changing this to, 10.0.5.4. The subnet mask will be 255.255. Dot 255.224 according to these 224. Then the default gateway is 10.0.5.1, 10.0.5.1. Then the DNS, of course, will be the IP address of the Windows Server, 10.0.5.5. Then we'll click on OK, and we can close that. That's all we need to do, and we can close all of this. Now to add our Windows 7 to our Active Directory, we've not created any user for it, so we need to create a new user on the Active Directory. How do we do that? Let's go back to our Active Directory. On the server, and here for the IT department again, I want to right click and click on new and click on user, and I want to give this person maybe Charles. Charles David. Good. Then the username would be Charles. This can be anything. Charles.it, and we'll click on next, and we'll give this person a password, and make sure password never expires. Click on OK, click on next, click on finish. Good. So we have Charles David now. We have it as Charles.it. So I want to configure this machine for Charles.it. So all I'm going to do is come to this place and come to my computer, and on my computer I can just right click on anywhere and click on properties. So I have this, I have computer name, which is what I want to click on. Then to rename this configure join domain, click change. I want to click on change. I want to click on domain, and so the domain name, of course, is cybertech. Cybertech.local. Then we'll click on OK. Then the username is charles.it, and the password you give the password you've created. Good, charles.it. I'll click on OK. So it says cybertech.local, that a specified network name is no longer available. Now let's see. Let's try to troubleshoot. Let's see where it went wrong. Cybertech.local. Um, Let me do that again. I just hope I'm not missing anything. This computer lags. Yeah, this is 10.0.5.5. Let me cross check again. So all of this looks correct up until this point. There's nothing wrong with this. So let's just try. It's most likely to be that because this version of Windows is outdated. And let me see my computer properties, computer name, mm, change domain, cybertech.local. So what we have to do now is charles.it. So I'll click on OK. Okay, most likely it's because it is outdated. So let's use it for our Windows 8 machine, or if we can download any other version like Windows 10 and all. So let's do that. So what we've been able to do so far now is we've been able to add users to group and configure each users as well. So now that basically is Active Directory. And how then do you create policies? Say, for example, you want to create a password policy for a certain entity that within that domain controller. So we can do that easily by adding a group policy. So once we're here, for example, on the users, what we will want to do is we want to go back all the way back. So what we want to do is to go all the way back. We can close this and we should come back to our dashboard. So we come to tools. Everything we want to do on our server, you can always find it on the tools. So what we want to do is to run a group policy management, because you can assign policies to groups. So it is easier to assign it to groups. And once you're on the group policy management, you want to create a new policy. Say, for example, you want to create a policy for for the sales department's computers, that the USB ports should not work and all. So you can have that. So now, if you click on this, the first for cybertech.local, if you split it up, you can see that you have group policies already. So if I click on domains, I click on cybertech.local, you have all of this. So now you have group policy object. All you need to do is to right click on this group policy object and click on new. And now this is the name of the policy you want to implement on the users on the certain group. So what you want to do is you want to say disable USB. Disable USB policy. That's what you want to do, and you want to click on OK. Just leave the source SATA as it is. So once that is done, if you now come to your group policies and you enlarge it, you see that you have a new policy called disable USB policy, just like this. So what you want to do now is you want to right click on it and edit it. So this is where you have to like run a simple configuration for that policy. So let's allow it to come up. So you'd see that you have computer configuration, you have policies, you have preferences. If you enlarge these policies, for example, you see that you have policies around software settings, Windows settings, administration settings. You can enlarge them and see what you have. So you can have different policies around this. But what we want to do is more of an administrative templates policy, blah blah blah, whatever that is. So, but since we're concerned with administrative policies, so we'll click on that. So you have these different options, say control panel, network, printers, server, start menu, system. So we click on system because this is what we want to do. Let me enlarge that. So once we click on system, we have all of this. And now if you want to disable the USB, we have to scroll all the way down. Scroll all the way down. After you've enlarged the system, you find something around removable storage access. Now, did you see that? So just click on that, which is removable Then you have these policies saying something like all removable storage classes deny all access. So you want to click on that. You want to click on that. So you see edit policy setting. Click on edit. So you can see that it is currently not configured. You can click on enabled. So once you click on that, so you can click on apply. So you click on apply and you click OK when it is done. So all removable storage meaning has been activated. So now it is now time for us to enforce that on our our users. So what we want to do now is we want to then go back to this same place that we are on, and we want to check where we have something like staffs or something under my local network group policy management. Where do we have my local? So let's close this since we're done with this. Now we're coming back here where we have the domains under the group policy management. We have the domains itself. Then under this, under the cybertech, so we can have, say, a department like the sales, for example. So now under the sales, under the IT department rather. So what we might want to do is we might want to just right click on it because let me see what I have under the IT department. I want to see if I have anything under the IT department. I think I should have some groups under this place. So I can right click on that and say link an existing GPO, that's a group policy object. And so once that dialog box pops up, so all I need to do is to look for the policy that I had created, which is disable USB policy. So you might encounter this from time to time. So when you're doing your thing, so let's go back to, okay, sorry. So now what we want to do is disable USB policy and click OK. So once that is done, you find it under this the IT department that you've enabled this, and if you can see that under the IT department now have disabled uh, uh, um, this. So now we've been able to configure that machines not to be able to access the USB ports. So now that's not all. Now you then have to update the group policies by typing Windows R and going to CMD. And on our dialog box, you just have to input a simple command where you just have to run a group update. So you say GP updates, GP updates, then it says /force. So what we're trying to do is we are trying to update the policies for the computers, and this will take some time, just few minutes. So once that is done, you can then exit. Easy. So now you can then go back to say the Windows 8 machine that you've configured. Okay, now remember that we had configured the Windows 8 um, to run the domain, and this person is, I remember, alex.it. So now you might be brought to this page when it has restarted. You want to go back and click on other user, and you want to sign in as alex.it, and you put in the password. So now you're logged in as cybertech/alex.it. So let's allow it to come up. I'll just pause this. All right, so our PC is up. Our PC is up now. And what we have to do from here is to press Windows R and press in CMD. And this most likely, you can see that now we are logged in as alex.it on the machine. So we also have to update the policy on this computer as well. So run gp update /force and you hit enter. So we'll allow it to update the policy as well. So once it is done, we can then restart the machine. So when you try to put in um, a USB device whatsoever, you see that access will always be denied. Access will always be denied on the machine. So this is how you run this easily. So we've been able to do all of these, and the 10th one that we've been able to do was to create a policy, create a group policy. So we've been able to do all of that. So this is all you need to do for now. So we'll just assume, so we have to report this and document this on our GitHub page on a project that we've done on configuring an Active Directory and on two machines. So please, I've done for Windows 8, and the Windows XP machine that we use is quite outdated, and probably it didn't work with the Active Directory because it is outdated. So if it's possible that you can get like Windows 10, have Windows 10 or some couple others on the same network, create users for them, assign them on the domain controller, and also activate them. So we can then document that as though we had worked with say maybe 50 computers, and we've been able to put them on the Active Directory. So I would make a video. I'll probably send you a report on how Yes, I'll make a video on how you document that on your GitHub page.